Welcome back. We're on Proxima Station. We got a Zerg versus Zerg, and I'd like to introduce our very first player. From Team Liquid, the Norwegian Zerg. It is Liquid Snute in the red. And in the top right of Proxima Station from the Ukraine, it is Bly. As well. Two of the top Zerg players in all of Europe. Honestly, it's pretty much a coin flip, I would say, going in. Maybe one of them is more confident in Zerg versus Zerg. Being confident in Zerg versus Zerg at the highest level is kind of a non-starter in the first place. I've watched Snute stream some. He's not a huge fan of the matchup sometimes, but it does make for some entertaining games. I'm hoping this is one of them. This is from Snute's replay pack. But he puts in plenty of losses. So that in no way spoils the game at all. In fact, some of his top replays of the month have just been him losing horribly. But he's like, this was pretty entertaining. So that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with. But Proxima Station in ZVZ does play out kind of weird, even for ZVZ, because of the ways the bases are set up. You have your first base in the front, which a lot of Zerg players will take, because if you take the base at the back first, you give up some potential map control. If you just take that back base and they can sit at the bottom of your ramp, then they're free to expand forward and get 3 bases and be fine. So a lot of the time, even in ZVZ, you'll see Zerg players, like the two in front of us right now, take that base first in order to get a foothold, in order to establish themselves on the low ground, so their opponent can't take that from them, at least first off. Of course, as time goes on, though, that also becomes a liability, because if they're able to get a concave of, say, roaches outside your base, then you're fighting with your back literally up against a wall, but the wall is your hatchery, and the kills are going to be on your drones. Both these players coming in with Overlords. They will have full vision. Looks like they're sending through in order to get more of an idea of what their opponents are doing. They know the queens for a hatch first will not come out in time. Their Overlords are not in danger, and they want to get the information at the very back of when their opponents are taking a third base. Speaking of which, Snute going for the quick third. Will Bly? Bly still has 3 in gas. Snute, if you notice, is not mining gas right now, which is why he's able to get the third base a little bit quicker. We'll have to see if Bly goes down for it. He wants to poke away at the Overlord. That's the intent here. But that means he does have access to potentially more tech. Yeah, he wants to make sure this Overlord doesn't see whether there is a third, because that's key information. Bly knows this is not a map where you just go Ling Bane versus Ling Bane. This is one of the few maps where that just doesn't really work, especially not against players of this caliber. This choke point is way too difficult to get through. Just a few units or buildings can completely cut it off, and you can protect your 3 bases with ease. So neither of these players going for the Ling Bane. Bly will drive away the Overlords and get a lair. Thank you, Kaz Engine. On the other side, Snute going for the economy, but he doesn't quite have the vision he needs in order to see what Bly is doing. Yeah, we see the wall off coming out here. He knows the danger this poses. The queens need to come down to defend. There's no creep. He can get through. Snute will call his bluff here is what's happening. He knows Bly saw he had a third. He's going to get through the front. The Lings come out. There's a second queen at the back. That might be just enough as Snute is trickling through the Lings. But the Evolution Chambers bought the time. The Roach Warren will be canceled alongside both of those Evo Chambers. So it does look like Bly will hold on and Snute will be repelled. He's up a couple drones, and of course he has that third base. That was pretty much a move to keep Bly honest there. If he hadn't walled that off, if he hadn't had enough Zerglings, Snute gets through and he potentially kills the queens, scouts the tech, and sees the drones. But he had just enough to prevent that from happening. Alright. We see Bly. He has just enough Zerglings. He was kind of baited into building them, obviously. He's got a Spire on the way. He's taking advantage of the protection afforded so far by this map, and the fact Snute is going for. He went for a lot of Zerglings, and he went for a third base. These are things that Bly knows. So it's reasonable to assume there's not going to be this big roach timing immediately following it up. There are going to be roaches. Snute is going for a lair. But, once again, because of what he's done early on means his options are very limited. Looks like Snute has the Zergling lead. He can take the fight. There's a single queen to help out, but Bly using the maneuverability and using the buildings he has to keep Snute from really getting an angle on his lings. And now he's evened up the count and will drive him back. +1 is on the way. I don't think Snute really... He really should suspect this. He sees the third base timing. He knows Bly is doing something. He sees the gas. I have to assume he's going to know very soon what Bly is doing. Will we see a reaction immediately? He has a lair done. Does he get a Hydralisk done? Or does he not quite know what's coming at him? Hydralisks, ever since the buff to give them a little bit of additional HP, are okay against mutas. Obviously, the maneuverability of the mutas is a pain to deal with. They can still run you around, but Hydralisks can fight them straight up, and they're not as hamstrung as they were before against it. Looks like Snute has his suspicions. He's got an infestation pit on the way. He's got more drones. He's already up by 6, but that's about to change for the better. Bly just taking down all the rocks around. Neither player capable of attacking one another until these mutas come in. And they did most definitely take Snute by surprise. Spore Crawlers are on the way. That's a lot of mutas he popped out. 10 there is killing 2 drones at once. It's just a couple queens to deal with this. Bly not wanting to lose any of his mutas here. He's just minimizing that, running away from the queens. Oh, and that's going to be significant losses there to start. Is he actually going for it? He's targeting the queens with the highest energy to remove the transfuses. But is that going to be enough to push through? 2-3 mutas already going down. Some good target fire here as he finishes +2 attack as well. Snute doing a great job of holding on. He's going to lose all his queens. He's going to lose some Zerglings in a fight over here. But it does look like most of the mutas will be taken out. Bly just exchanging those mutas for queens. But he's given up a lot of his map control here. He's continuing to make Zerglings. He's back up to 7 mutas. He's still going down that road. So he's not stopping anytime soon. But roaches are out and Snute is going to hard wall off. Which means Bly will probably... That's not a guarantee yet. He's going to take one more shot at getting through here. And is that enough Zerglings? Do they have any upgrades? They don't! But that's a lot of Zerglings. He will be able to take it down. Snute forced to retreat, and suddenly this is looking real dicey. There's a Spore Crawler to help out, but the Lings themselves are able to get through. A few more Queens are coming down, a few more Roaches, but Snute has already lost 29 drones between all of this. He's lost several Roaches. He's going to lose more Queens as Bly is doubling down on this original strategy of mutas. It's going to continue to pay off for him. There is an infestation pit. Wait, did it get canceled? He canceled the infestation pit, so there's no real transition here for Snute. He doesn't have a Hydralisk done. He doesn't have his own Spire. He doesn't really have that many Queens, so he's really pushed back here. But Bly still doesn't have that many Mutalisks. As I say, at 9 more in the production tab. Wait, what? Oh, no, he didn't cancel it. It was here the entire time. This building was an evolution chamber. He finished. All right, it's not nearly as bad as I thought. He has the infestation pit. It's right there. And this is the difference. Bly is continuing to make mutas. He's continuing. The longer he goes for the mutas, the riskier it is. I mean, it can pay off, like it originally paid off. But it's still risky, because every few seconds there's a greater chance of fungals coming out, and him losing pretty much all of his mutas. These roaches just traded their lives, quite literally, in order to buy a few more seconds for fungal. If these mutas all die, then the game changes. There's no fungals yet. He doesn't have burrow. He's on a bare bones economy at the moment. The infestors have still been hidden. They haven't been scouted out. Bly doesn't quite know yet. He's continuing to stack up his mutas. I think he just got a glimpse of them right there. Okay, he saw the very edge. Even corrosive biles can be used. Unfortunately, these drones popping out in a really dicey scenario. Ling's getting into the main. Snute's economy continuing to be hammered. At 40 so far. The fungals... Good splits. Bly trying to bait out these fungals. He doesn't want there to be too many later on. He doesn't want a sort of death ball from Snute coming across the map. And a death ball would mean enough fungals to be able to catch most of the mutas, and then enough roaches to be able to overwhelm on the ground. He's just trying to keep that energy down. Snute somehow still is at 64 drones against 67, but Bly does have the gold. Snute did get vision of that right before that Overlord was removed from the field. He has a little bit of creep. 2-2 on the way. Snute doing what Snute does best is hold on. He holds on as long as possible. Tooth and nail and infester. And queen. He loves queens. And he waits for his opportunity. He knew if he attacked earlier, it would fail. He knew if he tried to take another base, it would fail. He has held on. He has given up a lot of ground, but he hasn't given up the game. He's going to have good upgrades. It's going to be 2-2. +2 attack is almost done against just +1 attack. If he can max out with a Roach Hydra army and better upgrades with Infestors, he can still win. Now, Bly is maxed out. He's going to start putting his foot on the gas. He has to start attacking. That's how this works. If you're maxed out, you don't want to let your opponent get any closer. So we should see these Roaches move out. Bly's almost there. He doesn't have Roach speed. Uh-oh. This is a pretty massive, I want to say, oversight. I mean, he's going for Burrow move first, but not having Roach speed is actually kind of a huge deal. Oh, the Spore Crawler will be fought. Some Fungals come out. He's trying to target down the Infestors, but the Transfuses come through. He will keep most of the Infestors alive. I take that back. Most actually will go down. The Roaches are at the front. Hydroliths are popping out. They do get on top of the Roaches and the Ravagers. They don't need speed if he's backed up against a wall. But a good Fungal there as Snute shoots out the Corrosive Bile. They will connect. There's nowhere to run. And Bly will be forced back. Snute using every tool at his disposal. And will survive a little bit longer. It's 52-65 drones. Snute has held on. He still has that Roach speed. He now knows that Burrow move is done for these Roaches. But the Burrow move can't really be used because he lost so many in that fight. The army supply is 122, 126 to 86. Snute about to finish up that 2-2. The 2 Muta's going to find some more kills. 5 kills on one, 3 on the other. Most of them drones. Burrow will complete, but 2 Mutalisks getting a lot of value here. Alright, and Snute, once again, in typical Snute style, has held on. Using everything. It's not like Snute is winning now. That's not what happens. It's more like Snute is still in the game. He still has a few Infestors. 2 Infestors. He has 2-2 upgrades, which are slowly being evened out. But he's still down in workers. He's been down in production. A single Muta will finally meet its death. The Mutas have finally been taken off the board. A lot of Ravagers on the way. He's going to do whatever he can to maximize those Fungals. If he can hit the Fungals, he can hit the Corrosive Bile, he can take out an army that's greater in supply. And in fact, his army is going to be greater in supply himself because he has so few drones. His base will be taken out blind with 3,200 minerals, 900 gas in the bank. Surprised not to see a hive or even an infestation pit yet. Some more taken out. It looks like 5 or 6 Roaches based on the supply. But yeah, Bly needs to start trying to trade. And he's not going to trade that well. Snute has better upgrades and a better army with Fungal. But Bly can't just sit back. That's how Snute gets back into this. Alright, he's going to take this fight. Snute has a better army, but there are some Roaches moving through. He's finding these angles of weakness. Most of these Roaches are taken out. Bly dips to 120 supply. The drones will burrow. Will we be able to get this hatchery? It doesn't look like it. 38 more Roaches are on the way for Bly, and he has money for even more when he gets the larva. He's going back into the main. The rotating door of Roaches is going to continue. He's exhausting a lot of his bank for this. Will he be able to do enough? Snute is down to 42 drones. Most of these are burrowing here. There's burrow on either side. Wait, does he actually? He does have burrow upgraded. The Roaches will finally get taken out. Snute's army is at 132 to 110. Bly winds up for another attack. But once again, Snute holds on. The infestation pit finally coming out. The lurker den has completed, but he didn't have any Hydras with which to build the lurkers. Bly has another base as well. He's got this high economy powerhouse. He can just keep hitting Snute. We'll see if Snute can hold on. Another attack. What is this, the 5th or 6th or 7th attack? But Snute's still here, and he's countering with a very large army with 2-2 against 2-0. A lot of Roaches are sneaky, and he realizes Snute's army is out of position. But now he's bearing down on this gold base. It's going to go down. Some of the drones are going to be taken with it. Is this going to go into a base trade? He's just going across the map. He's going to try to get whatever he can. He could make Mutas. Bly could make Mutas in order to fight this army. If he can get enough Mutas, like maybe 12 or 14 Mutas, he can fight it. Or even some Lurkers, or whatever he can do. Is there any detection on the other side? We're going into a base trade. as the roaches are streaming forward and the Roach Hydra Ravager on the other side. 3 lurkers are on the way. The lurker den is under fire. Where are those lurkers being morphed? That's so important. He has them in a random corner of the map. If he takes out the lair, he can take out the overseers and there's no detection. There's just this single overseer. If he can lock Snute into his own base, in fact, in StarCraft, it does come down to which player has buildings left. This could be where we're going right now. Bly has invested in these lurkers. Snute has forced him into an all-out counterattack. He's evacuating drones with an overload. And Bly still has 2,700 minerals and 300 gas, but does he have any way to spend it? On the Spire, he's building as many mutas as possible. There still, I think, are too many Hydras out. He can't fight with these mutas yet. Snute is getting everything out of there. He's gonna build one of his final hatcheries. Underneath an Overlord, unfortunately. Where are the lurkers? The lurkers are burrowed over here. Bly has a hatchery in the bottom right corner. There are only so many buildings left on either side. There are 2 extractors in a Spire and 2 extractors in a Roach Warren, and both of them are building a single hatchery. Bly has enough money for plenty more hatcheries. He still has 21 drones against 16. Snute doesn't have much money in the bank, but he does have the better army. Of course, it all comes down to the lurkers. Some overlords are being taken out. I don't think... Oh, but the lurkers are on the base! Does Snute have any more drones anywhere? He's had them burrowed in his main. Wait, whoa, 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 whoa! There are no buildings left! He has to unburrow now! This is the last building! This is Snute's last building! No! Snute, no, he builds another hatchery! He had a drone! Okay. Whoa. Wait. Where is that extractor that Snute has? Snute has an extractor? No, he doesn't. That was his last building. All right, now this is his last building. He's running out of last buildings. The mutas are going to find some of the overlords. He's going to try to hold on to that, but you do have to kill your opponent's buildings to win a game of StarCraft. Bly has a base in the main, in the net, in the bottom right. He's rebuilding a spawning pool, but he's a long way to go. Snute. He has drones up here. Is Bly building a hatch down here? This could get real awkward. Dropping some roaches into the main. There's no detection. Are there any overseers? Bly has... Okay, he has 3 overseers. He can see burrowed units. He just has to go all the way around the map for it. Will Snute burrow this roach? Not that it matters that much. He will lose 1. But right now, Bly has the more mobile army, and he has the lurkers, which will protect his only, I guess, technically mining base. Some roach burrow pop-up micro happening as Snute is drone rushing the hatchery of Bly, but he's just revealed where the vast majority of his drones are. He's rebuilding 2 over here. That will bring him within that dangerous 300 range. Bly will not cancel his hatchery to the drones, but an overseer is on call to help kill these. He burrows them. Does Bly realize? He realizes. And a lot of Snute's drones are going to go down. So Bly is rebuilding a Roach Warren. He has enough money for another dozen or so roaches. He doesn't have that much larva. He's mining from this base. 24 drones to 4. As Snute doesn't really have vision of everything he needs to. He doesn't know about the bottom right. He doesn't know about the natural actually mining. And that could be the decider here. Snute is just very limited in his options. This hatchery will be taken out by the formerly burrowed roaches. He's going for the drone. He can finish off the hatch as well. He burrows. The amount of... He just re-killed Bly's main with 3 burrowed roaches against 4 mutalisks. Now Bly has to remake overlords as well to get on supply block. He still has the worst army. There are 2-2 upgrades with ravagers and hydralisks, whereas it's 2-1 with pretty much just roaches for Bly. So, even with an army supply lead... Snute, where are you going? Snute, you crazy devil. That is all he has. I think 2 mutas went down. 2 of the mutas went down over here. Oh. He doesn't have enough to remake. He has to cancel. Here comes the army. Snute will come back in time. He has to protect his house. As he is now at the gold base on Bly's former side of the map. There are lurkers There are lurkers protecting Bly's re-established base. He still has some money on the other side. Does Snute know about... Snute knows about this now. Snute, I'm not sure how, but he got vision. And how does he... He can kill the lurkers with Ravager corrosive biles, even if he doesn't have detection. That's a whole deal. But Snute is running out of options right now. Well, that's one option. I mean, there are 3 spore crawlers in the front with the explicit purpose to take out any overseers. That's their entire job right now. Can these roaches fight the lurkers? That's the question, as Bly re-expands to the south. It looks like Snoot's just going to try to corner this army before Bly, because Bly now has an economy. It's barely anything, but it's better than nothing. Snute has a limited economy as well. But this gold base has already been mined almost entirely by Bly. Snute is just a squatter right now. He was on this base, but Bly already lived here for years. Snute foreclosed on him, but now he himself finds himself in a terrible situation. How many times can I say himself in a single sentence? Winter asked himself. Alright. Some changelings are coming out. Bly gonna get a scout on this army. Another spire is being rebuilt in this back corner. It looks like the changelings were taken out, but they scout where the majority of that army is located. Looks like Bly... He doesn't actually see the base, but he can see the creep. At some point... and the Overlord gets caught at the tail end. At some point, like, I mean, it does come down to who has the buildings. Infestors are a godly choice. Once again, Snute exhibiting his patience. I mean, he only really has the option of winning a decisive fight. It's the same as before. But the infestation pit is scouted. But a couple fungals, some corrosive bile, that can make all the difference. Snute is mining from this base. I'm pretty sure Bly's about to figure that out. But he's going to sit back. He's going to build up until he can't anymore. 3 infestors are the choice. All of the tech and most of the overlords are still over here. He has to protect this base. Snute actually has 21 drones now, but Bly has 26 of his own. As the standoff continues. Oh, but the Bromu Roach is gonna slaughter this mineral line. Several drones going down instantaneously. The precious, precious Fester. Will make it out. He doesn't have pathogen glands, so he has to wait for fungals. Infested Terrans are not gonna cut it right now. Is he gonna fight that Spore Crawler? He will. That's enough mutas. There's only a single Hydra. Will he pop Infested Terrans? He knows. It's all or nothing. Either he gets the fungals, or he doesn't. There are 2 options. He doesn't. He kills his own larva. He doesn't get the most of the mutalisks. Some of Bly's roaches will get away. Bly is doubling down on the mutastrats. This base will be taken out. At what point does Snute just go? He has to go. His base is gone. His tech is gone. He gets the fungals on some of the mutas. Another one, he has no more fungals. How many Hydras are left? 0. Snute no longer has anti-air. Besides corrosive bile. And do you really think Bly is gonna get hit by corrosive bile? The roaches come in. The mutas above. It wasn't quite enough. Snute remakes the spawning pool. Optimism at its finest. And GG, Snute will tap out. Bly just a little bit too slippery, a little bit too mobile. Will evade defeat by a base in the corner and a handful of lurkers. And that'll be the difference. Snute was 1 building away from death most of this time. But there you go. Bly takes it home.
Your
Thank you,
dedication
Johannes,
will be rewarded.
for 39 months in a row.